Hey Froggy friends, Kirostyle here. Welcome back to Strider 2014. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've beaten the game in my previous video, and that was off stream. And now we're gonna look at all the concept art that we unlocked, because that was the main reason why I went through the game and went back and backtracked and got everything, because I love unlocking unlockables if they're within reason. I don't like doing ones that are too hard. But I like ones that unlock things like especially concept art and character models and stuff like that too. I'm such a sucker for those things. Plus, I really like Strider as a character. Obviously, you guys know this. So I want to make sure that I give him the due attention and look at some of this stuff. Because I also do have the digital art book for this game that came with pre-ordering it on Steam. I have this game now on PS3, Steam, and PS4. Originally I got it on PS3, but then I found out you got a digital art book and soundtrack if you pre-ordered it on Steam, so I got it there. Luckily, it wasn't too expensive. And then for the stream, I got it on PS4 because I don't have access to my PS3 right now. Let's look at some of the extras. Oh yeah, for the single player game as well. See, I need to... Resume game is now grayed out. Now, if I look at the challenge modes... And again, I'm surprised I beat it on normal because like, it was really hard at the beginning because you have such low HP. And then when you get to the end, like it was kind of easy through the middle, and then you got to the end and suddenly Mayo's Tower was really hard. But I'm proud of myself for beating it on normal. So these are challenge modes. I'm not going to do these, but run through the beacons in order to achieve the fastest time. So there's a few different ones, and I think we've unlocked all of them now. You can see which upgrades you have, I believe, in the corner of each picture. It's nice that they added stuff like this. Not that it's something that I really care about, but... Survival mode. Combat waves of enemies. Eliminating them as fast as possible. Heavy metal. All your bots. Night of the Troopers. Trashed. Subject to testing. And then you can also, like, on your leaderboards, it shows any of your friends that have this game and what their completion time was and stuff like that too. But I don't think I have anyone that has also played this game. Okay, let's look at the concept art. I'm just gonna scroll past it first just so you can see all of it. A couple of them you get from beating Mayo himself at the end, so that's why I had to look up which ones I didn't actually go need to collect. And the star means that I haven't actually looked at it yet. So I'll hide myself for this section. Hiryu and Glider high above Kazakh City. Oh, I can't just tab between them with L and R? That's kind of annoying. Sorry, Hiryu. I can't even zoom in on them. But it's really cool. And some of these I have like bigger versions of them on the digital art book. I'll go over that stuff with you guys in a bit as well, so stick around for that. Again, I really like his redesign. I miss the scarf, but having the energy trail change color with your upgrades is a really clever game mechanic use of it. But I'm a sucker for the scarf. Reverse lighting effect, straight zoom effect. Many different fight patterns for energy absorbing. That's kind of cool. Wait, what did these ones say? Strider Hiryu concept. Strider Hiryu concept. Cradle and container concepts for power-ups. So a lot of these power-ups and stuff look like items from the original Strider games as well. Concept for Novo as a gate switch. City gate. I'm not going to talk too much about them because otherwise it'd just be too much. It's like 40 plus of the concept art alone. Kazakh City exterior. Kazakh City blends the old and new with cues from previous games. Underground zone concepts. Ouroboros Mark III, the Armored Dragon concept. Skiffs, airborne transports used by Kazakh City troopers and military soldiers. Kazakh City interior. I like looking at concept art. I realize that a lot of these are clearly made to be marketable. Like there's a lot of concept art that never gets shown because it's too rough and they only choose the nice ones to show us, but it is neat. Heavy Trooper concept and model render. I wish I could rotate the character enemy models and just look at them. Eagle Flight and Eagle Attack concepts for option C. Oh, that guy getting cleaved in half with the eagle is super cool looking. Bot concepts taking cues from past games for option A. Oh, it's got a kanji on it. That's kind of neat. Mayo's Tower concept. Option interfaces, Panther Run, Eagle Perch, and Bot interface. Military Ring, where Kazakh City meets the Military Ring. Turrets. The Flat Top and Meatball turrets. Solo the Bounty Hunter. So Solo was a character in the original games, and he appears in some of the crossovers too. He's pretty cool looking. Solo 2, Solo Revived. General Mikiel. I like how he has like raptor legs. You don't really get a good look at the robotic raptor legs when you're fighting him, but it's kind of interesting. General Mikiel existed in the previous games, but they kind of reworked his appearance in this one. Storyboards for the death of General Mikiel. I liked this part too. This part was kind of cool. I wish they had like actual cutscenes. Mecha Tank, a multi-purpose weapon. Great care was made to invent a tank befitting a Strider game. This is the one that Mikiel fights you in. The Pnuts have many different weapons. These guys are annoying in large numbers and they keep respawning usually. The Pooh Sisters, well-known fighters from previous Strider games. Dragon storyboards. Ooh, these look really cool. Storyboards for the second Armored Dragon encounter. Jerome the Shaman. So he's a new character for this game. I wish he had a little bit more attention. Like, when he showed up in that one cutscene with Mayo, I didn't expect to be fighting him so soon right after that, and then that was it. At least Dr. Schlange we saw a few times before we finally got rid of him. Plasma Catapult Ring concept. Military Tank concept. The Mutant Millipede is actually a multi-organism with several sewer crabs joined together. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. Storyboards for the Millipede attacks. I love seeing these like storyboards for like sprite animations and stuff. BlazBlue has really good ones for their sprites. I like the picture in the middle with Strider like holding out his hand and being like, something's crumbling from the ceiling above me. The mutant version of the Pnut. Entrance to the underground temple. It also kind of would be nice if you actually went through the areas sequentially instead of like doing a little bit in the underground, a little bit in the military ring, a little bit in Kazakh City, a little bit in... because it got a little bit confusing after a while. It does lend itself to the Metroidvania thing, but it's just... it felt a little confusing. One of the most memorable enemies from the original game, Mechapon. Queen Mother of the West uses all the Pooh Sisters' powers, so she's a new character for this game. The Pooh Sisters are the three winds, so she is like the mother of the three winds. So she's their teacher and or maybe mother, like actual mother. It's a little bit unclear. She was a cool boss fight, I think. A mood painting of the airship Balrog. Look at the detail on this, holy moly. The laser turret found in the research facility. The research brainwalker concept. These guys are so annoying. Especially the liquid nitro ones. The research facility interior concepts. Underground sewer and specimen storage concepts. Grandmaster Mayo. I think he's an okay design. He's looked different over the years. And they kind of use this one for the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite one too. It's okay. I wish Strider had a cooler looking antagonist, which is why I wish Strider Heian was in this game. Solo I think is pretty cool though. And the Pooh Sisters' mother is pretty cool, I think. And Jerome actually is. This looks weird, his tiny little head. Okay, that's all our concept art. Let's look at our character intel. Oh, I can rotate the models! Okay, I'm not gonna read all these out loud. So you can pause the video and look. Okay, I take it back. I'm glad I can look at these models myself. I wish you could look at this stuff while you're playing the game. You gotta exit back to the main menu to view this stuff. These guys were kind of cool, but you only saw them like at the very beginning, and then at the end of the game they throw a whole bunch of them at you. They didn't feel like a presence throughout the game. So like they were easy to defeat at the beginning, and then at the end when they throw like 2 or 3 of them at you once, they were hard. I can't rotate this one. Ouroboros was pretty cool though. These things. Oh, she's the oldest of the sisters, but she's the one I fought first. But then again, she's the one I fought the most, because she fights in all the subsequent battles too. Oh, she's the youngest. So we fought oldest, and then youngest, and then middle sister. Kind of interesting. So now we're seeing a lot of the recolor enemies. The armor designs are pretty cool though for these robot enemies. So this is also a new character. Oh, the sewer guys. Look at their tiny little mouths. It's cool how they have like infested symbiotic robot creatures. That's, I think, a pretty cool thing. Reminds me a bit of Warframe. Or even like Soma. Okay, this guy's also a new character. The man known as the Black Marketer. He and the prisoner were scientists that worked on the Gravitron, huh? Oh, so Tongpu is the leader, even though she's the middle sister. She's the most skilled. In a lot of crossover games where they show like Strider representation, sometimes they'll have just her representing the 3 winds instead of having all 3 sisters. Again, so Mikhail was a character that existed before, but they changed his appearance for this one. Gravitron. These sections were kind of neat, but not when they made you do them like against Mayo or like during a boss fight, other than the boss fights against the Gravitrons themselves. It felt like a gimmick thing that should just stay within the gimmick area. So this thing is also, looks like it's made of multiple crabs stuck together. So the fact that Solo appears, so like in the game, I think most of the guides say you're supposed to fight Solo before you fight Tongpu, but then I accidentally skipped Solo and then came back and fought him after Tongpu. But the fact that his model appears after Tongpu's in the gallery means that maybe I did it the right order as intended. His fight was actually kind of difficult in terms of the number of mechanics, so I kind of expected it to be later in the game. Apparently you could just skip his fight altogether. You could just not get the reflective cipher It just makes the game a little harder for some sections, but you can just skip him. But then you fight Resurrected solo, and then it doesn't make sense because you hadn't actually killed first solo. Like, of all the bosses they made accidentally skippable, why make it him? All these are looking the same to me now. Here, Ouroboros Mark III. These things. She's the teacher and mentor of them. It is not known if she is a fourth sister, mother, or someone else altogether. She's an interesting headdress. Apparently the ZN2 in his name refers to one of, like, an old, I think, arcade machine or game console or something like that. As a reference. Again, so this guy's new for the remake. Shame he didn't get more screen time. So Mayo's, like, origins are actually unknown. A lot of the English translated media says that he's an alien, and I think in some of the Namco x Capcom stuff, other characters also identify him as, like, an intergalactic threat or intergalactic like criminal. But in the Japanese version, I think it's just left completely up in the air what he really is. It's kind of funny that his name sounds like mayonnaise, like mayo. I've never really thought about that until people in chat pointed it out, and I was like, oh, he does sound a lot less threatening when you think of it that way. Because I've only, like, in the Japanese version too, none of his enemies say his name. They always refer to him as he or the Great One or, like, the Lord or whatever. But in the English one, they all say Mayo willy-nilly. I can't even rotate this one. His tiny little head in the middle freaks me out. He kind of reminds me of, like, I think Astaroth from Shadow Hearts 2, where he has, like, a tiny head but a big body and a lot of, like, weird trapezoidal or triangular components near the bottom. So this is the story intel. Oh, so this is all just text. So I'll just go through the stuff. Kazakh City, you guys can read it, pausing the video if you want. It's quite a bit. Historical district. Residential district. Again, like, the game doesn't have that much lore or story in it, but there's a lot of stuff here in the files for the world building. Well, maybe I should hide myself for some of these. Just unfortunate I can't actually just look at the art without the HUD. Okay, well, at least for the ones with the character portraits, I'll make sure to remain hidden. All these locations that we visited. So this is called the final area of the game is called the third moon base. So where's the first and the second moon base, huh? And it's unfortunate that I wish on these screens it would show you a picture of Hiryu wearing the outfit with the colors so you can actually see them. Because each of these fallen striders refers to one of his color palettes you could pick up throughout the game. And that's why I had to show it off at the beginning of the previous video before we fought Mayo, because otherwise you can't see it on this screen. Again, Strider Heian was a major character in Strider 2 as a boss character, and is frequently seen in a lot of the crossovers. So it's a shame that he didn't actually appear in this game. All the rest of the Striders mentioned here are just nothing. They're just cameos of other Capcom properties. But I think there are other Striders like mentioned in like the manga. But in the games, there aren't really any Striders besides Strider and Heian, because I guess they all got wiped out by Mayo or something. Kind of cool that they list that they have like different weapons as well. But obviously we never got like a bow in the game, but it'd be cool if there were like different options. And that's it for the in-game art gallery. It's a bit disappointing because I know all the characters in the game have portraits. In the game, we only saw like a little snippet of their face when they were talking, but they actually have like almost all have busts. And I was able to find there's some in the digital art book, and I found a couple of them online, but a couple characters I couldn't find high-res versions of their portraits. Like Grandmaster Mayo, even though he's the main antagonist, I could only find a low-res version of his portrait. Although I found a high-res version of it in Steam icons, but then it was at 50% opacity because it's part of a background of another piece. I was like, where's the full opacity piece? And then even like the prisoner only had like a very small low-res picture that I could find that presumably someone just took a photo of it from a physical art book somewhere. So it's too bad because they're actually pretty nice. I wish they put them in the game, in the gallery here. I'm really surprised they didn't put them here. Okay, let's look at the digital art book, and then we'll wrap up the video. Okay, so here we have the digital Strider 2014 art book, which came with pre-orders of this game on Steam back in 2014. So if you pre-ordered this game on Steam, it gave you a PDF of the artwork. Now, it's not that long, it's only 16 pages. This game was released digitally only in North America, but in Japan, there was a physical release on the PS3, like an actual disc with a box. And there was a special edition, a deluxe edition of that one, that had like an actual full art book with art from Strider 2014, as well as the original Strider games from 1989 and 1999. So I couldn't find any copies of that one online that are being sold, just out of curiosity to see if it was in circulation or people were still like selling off their copies, but I'm imagining there aren't that many. But anyways, I, of course, am a big Strider fan, so I pre-ordered it on Steam, even though I played this game on my PS3 at the time, and I got this art book. So let's share it with you guys, because I think it's just kind of neat, and this art I thought would be in the art gallery of the game, but it wasn't. So this is the concept art. Here, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see it all at once. So this is kind of like I want to say the cover of the game, but it was digital release. So it's like the art that they use as the representative of this game. And it looks pretty good. It's really neat because I think it's like, it has Strider. He's striking a cool pose, but there's still a little bit of mystery about him. There's some interesting lighting with him in the shadows and his glowing eye. You see the scarf carves an interesting trail. You see a whole bunch of like exploded enemy drones in the background. I think it looks really, really cool. He looks so cool. And then we saw this one in the game, the Balrog airship concept art. So this one's not new. And we saw a little bit of this one as well, the Strider concept art. We have Strider front and back. We have details on his gauntlets, details on his cipher. Again, the transition from having a actual scarf to a plasma energy trail I think is really, really interesting, especially from a gameplay perspective for showing the different upgrades. Again, I kind of like the scarf a bit better, but this is pretty cool. So here's the Strider portrait art, full version of it. Kieran was joking around with me. I was like, he looks like he has big Mickey Mouse ears, but I think he's wearing like some kind of plating over his ear, or some kind of like giant, I don't know, ear guard or transceiver that's part of his mask. But he still looks really cool. In fact, you don't even really notice it unless you point it out. Again, Strider with his signature spiky dark brown hair. You can see like his physique as well. The kanji's clear on his chest. You can see how his scarf thing isn't exactly a scarf thing, but still very much resembles one. I like the dark type of shading here, the cell shading with the black. I think is really cool. Now this one is like the cover on the Japanese box art of the game. Like, it's a really cool group composition. Strider in the front, he's slashing the Ouroboros. You see the Pooh sisters. You see Solo. You see Grandmaster Mayo. This picture appears on the PS5. Well, I'm playing it on the PS5, but it's the PS4 version of the game. It appears on the menu when you hover over the game, and it appears in the background, like a zoomed-in version of this. And it was used on the Japanese version of the box art. I don't remember if on the PS3 version it has this artwork when you hover over it on the menu. It's been too long. And I think the Steam version uses this as the banner, I believe, as well. I think it's pretty cool. We have is this the young? No, this is the oldest of the sisters. The blue one with the spear. Pretty cool. Nangpu. And then here's her portrait. Those rings on the back of her head are huge. Interesting design. It's like again, it's like futuristic, but also like traditional at the same time, which is kind of neat. Because Strider's always been set in a futuristic setting, but the characters have looked a little bit more traditional or less futuristic in the past. Here's a Peipu, the oldest of the sisters. Again, pretty cool design. I like her hair here. I like how their outfits are like matching but different. For some reason, she has two portraits too. She has like an injured one and a normal one. Probably because the injured one shows briefly when she joins the blue sister in her fight. But the other sisters don't have an injured portrait. This one, you can tell, looks a little bit less refined than the other one too. The lines are a little rougher. Oh, this one's really cool. This one is preliminary concept art. Again, another cool picture of Strider striking a cool pose. You see his scarf like carving out a cool trail, and he's cutting a bunch of drones. I think the plasma scarf definitely works better from a practical standpoint too, because obviously a long scarf is not good for combat because it can get caught on things or pulled or grabbed, etc. But the plasma scarf doesn't have that problem, but it still like creates an interesting silhouette. If Solo first encounter, you can see like some of the details on his weapons with and without his like cape thing. Apparently he was originally designed after a mosquito, like the very original designs of Solo, and like the way his movements are in battle kind of resemble that as well. Here's his portrait. One thing that bothers me though is not all the portraits are cut off at the same. Like his feel like Solo's feels like it's cut off a little bit higher on the chest than the others, so it makes him look shorter if you just look at the portrait. Especially when you compare it to some other characters. Like the Prisoner and the Black Marketer, their portraits are almost start at the neck. Or the Black Marketer starts at the neck. And then the Prisoner starts like... It's kind of a bust, but he's like crouching over, so he looks a lot shorter. Same with Dr. Slange, I think. Wait, we didn't see any Dr. Slange concept art in the game files. I know he has concept art because the Strider wiki has pictures of him. Because I was going to say that Professor Slange is based on a character from the previous games who was also named Slange, but he had a different role. Like this Professor Slange is more of a mad scientist, and the one in the original games was kind of like a nobleman. I'm surprised we didn't have any concept art of him in the game. I'm just realizing that now. Here's the middle sister, Tongpu, the leader. Some details on her jewelry. Her portrait. And the key art, which is, we saw it earlier, but now it has the logo on it. Fit it all on one screen. There we go. And unfortunately, that's the end of the art book. Like, they don't have pictures of Grandmaster Mayo. They don't have pictures of Solo, Revive, Dr. Slange, Zhirong, any of those new characters as well. Or General Mikiel, which is a bit of a shame, because there is a lot of cool art in this game to be had. But it's still a nice little bonus. But anyways, that concludes my series on Strider 2014. Thank you so much for joining me on stream and on YouTube as well. Hope you guys have a happy new year. Again, it's nice to kind of share my love of Strider with you and introduce people to his games who have never actually played or seen his games before. And fingers crossed that we can see him more in the future and more things, whether it's just Capcom crossover stuff or an actual game of his own, which would be really cool. But I have a feeling this isn't the last we've seen of Strider. Alright, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.